Okay, recap for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from the 8th to the 10th of April 2026. Our last recap was on Tuesday, right? And we had this crazy run up. And then after that, we really haven't done much, right? The price action was boring. There's a bunch of break evens. I got the wins here and there, but there's not much to learn, right? To show or whatever, right? It's just basic garbage price action. You just have to be very very patient and just pick the easiest, quickest trade. Really, I'm gonna go through the days really fast. Let's go through Wednesday first, right here. For Wednesday, and this in my Tuesdays and the recap. I was saying just treat this area basically as a balanced price range. I don't There's no reason for us to do this and not wanting to seek higher prices. So I'm looking at today, we already done this. There was a chance at 9:30 opening we head up higher, right? To take these highs because there was a reason for us to open that high. I would want to stick with the bullish bias, even though logically, like we're gonna have a large opening range gap. There's gonna be a bunch of liquidity at the, like sell side and stuff, right? But you wouldn't really be bearish until it's confirmed, right? You don't want to just force the idea, and that's how I came to that day. So we go to 9:30, right? This is our nine candle, right? That's how we close. Let me show that actually in the 1 minute. We take every buy side, right? This is our London high, right? Initial buy side, and we have a wick that makes relative equal highs. So now I'm in the point where, okay, we have a lot of options, really a lot of options. Why? Because we can think about this, right? Once we have this run up, right? Sell side is you can determine it in like two, right? You can either be like half of this range and you would get London sell side, the initial sell side, right? And then this bunch of this with midnight open, which this could be enough. Or the day is not gonna go higher and we're gonna go all the way to Asia sell side. And of course anything beyond that is in PDA array. Okay. So you get this notion of it's mixed up. It is a mixed up because if we get if we're gonna take this high, we're gonna go much higher, right? If this that means the day is really bullish. But if we weren't, we're basically gonna consolidate, right? We're gonna go to one. We're not gonna expect closing this nothing now. We're just gonna expect basically this price action, right? So coming to this day, I was conflicted, right? I was like, all right, cool. I can see both targets. I can see either. Well, let me say this: if the price allowed me, my trade would guarantee just be to London low. That's it. London low, midnight open. That's it, really, right? But it already ran too quick. We create the first presented fair value gap, right? That's already highlighted, and we go lower. We go to midnight opening price, right? Perfect. We take all the liquidity, and I'm not in the trade yet. So now what? Now I have to decide what do I think, right? Well, this reaction from here, there, I was thinking, I I know we're gonna hit the first presented fair value gap, but I'm at a point where I basically have to flip a coin, right? I'm either wrong, I'm right. Do I believe we're still bullish? Because we haven't even touched the upper quadrant, right? All the stuff, the signs was saying I would give it 55% more bullish than bearish, right? Because we didn't even have an SMT here or anything like that. So I was just saying, you know what? I'm willing to take the risk on here rather than waiting for us to close above first presented. I shouldn't have not done that, right? That was just me being kind of impatient. I'm not gonna lie, but I just didn't expect it, right? Because the way we would deliver in a consolidation, it wasn't gonna deliver like this. As you can see, after the confirmation here, I took my long in this. By the way, this comes down and then I get my break even, right? And on another account, I couldn't push to break even, so I took the loss while it's going down. So then it comes to the fact I call confirmed is bearish. I take the short. No, I put my limit order here. This is what I wanted this wick to do. This wick technically should have it. I mean, it doesn't have to, but I didn't expect an institution order flow entry drill here. And regardless, I would have been out of the trade because just look at this. Look at this garbage, right? I know we delivered, but like, it was just terrible. It was just terrible. So if I got my short up here, then it's fine. But I flipped the coin basically in my head, and I did expect it to go higher, and then we'll deal with going lower later on with the week because this is valid and this is valid. Both ideas were valid. I just didn't wait to clear out both sides, and that's my fault for that day, right? Normally I do wait out, but I don't know because I think I didn't want to hold for this, right? I just wanted this, and this range was like, enough rather than me waiting all the way for us to get above here, which could be garbage in terms of stop loss, right? That's what I was just doing in my head. So I didn't care, right? That's all I can say. I didn't care. You could have been bullish or bearish. The day was just humongous, right? And any of them would be right. This day, I just wasn't patient enough. As simple as that. And that's fine. Sometimes it happens, right? And I could not care less. Anyway, we move into Thursday. And let me get Thursday's price right here. Alright, Thursday. Same concept, right? I'm I'm still eyeing these out. I'm not bearish. I'm eyeing these out. But a catalyst to get us higher, it's fine, right? However, once we open, and by the way, there was a lot more to do with this day, right? If you're looking at the 5:15 and what other time frame, I'm just looking at the 1 minute here just to go quick with it, right? Anyway, Thursday. Um, how do we say this? Well, if we look at our opening range gap, it was basically non-existent. So I'm using yesterday's opening range gap, right, as in like the Wednesday's one, to know what we're doing, right? Let's go back to electronic. And as you can see in this day, just looking in the 1 minute, what do we have? We have buy side, buy side, buy side, and it all leads up to here, where with a gap that is not this. How do I say it? This is like the area right after here is what's holding us. Us getting above this high will make us use this area as an inversion, right? I don't know how else to explain it, but look, as you can see here, right? Once we get above this high, when we come back, we can use this as inversion, right? It's gonna hold price. You can see it's done that there. Anyway, I'm watching this and I'm expecting a sweep, right? I'm expecting us to come lower, right? I'm expecting this day to go lower and then it could go higher if it wants, right? Once I open the chart at where was it? At like 9:20 or something. Looking at the market, we have highs and we have lows that are basically equal in number, right? It's another day where you could be right going long, you could be right going bearish, right? Like it could do one or both, or it just consolidate, right? But I just knew that seeking the first thing is is the way, I guess, right? It's the first thing that you want to do. And once it's taken this high, and this is, I don't know, it's one of the PM highs, but it doesn't really matter to. But my main thing that I'm looking at is this high, right? Our 930 high. Once we take that out, right? So we've taken this high and bearish, cool. But nothing in this run confirms that we're fully bearish yet, right? Once we do this and take that high again, right? It's the same thing, but it's taking this high now and then coming back into the range. Now, because we have targets like this high, this high, this high, whatever, they all have like their respect. This is like the AM high from yesterday. This is the lunch high. I don't know what the hell London highs, but I'm telling you, it's like it was 50-50 in the highs and lows. And at the same time, we have stacked sell side, right? This is the AM sell side. Then you get the PM sell side. We have the Asia sell side taken, but you got London sell side. And you can see they're all higher, so they're all relative, right? So it was valid to look for a run that would take all of them in terms of a sweep, and it could literally just wick into them and then go higher, right? Visiting this, and that will be the catalyst for us to push price higher, right? All of them scenarios are valid. You just need to rule whatever out. So when the market opens at 9:30 here, right? When we wake up, I'm like, alright, cool. I'm bearish. I'm watching for us to create a first presented fair value gap. We don't, right? We don't create a first presented fair value gap. We come, and this is my last like lows, right? If we're not gonna be bearish, what would stop us? Well, it would stop us by going to these minor sell side liquidity, right? And holding this fair value gap. The second we close below this, and I'll highlight it here, then we're bearish, right? Like as in we're gonna get this low, at least minimum, right? We also got these lows, but like minimum, we're gonna get our initial sell side, right? I just have them in my head. I don't have them highlighted. Look what we do. We add into it, right? We add into it. We don't take the sell side. We add into it, and then we go higher. So now in my head, I'm watching this move as a bearish move, right? I'll mark the first presented fair value gap as it comes, right? You could see it from here, or you could see it with the volume imbalance. But once I see some with a big wick, I normally either go on like the lower time frame, 15-second, because the wick is gonna be a large gap, and I'll just get the whole range. Or I would go to NQ and just make sure that if it's both there, if they agree. If it doesn't, I'll just use the smaller one, and I'm not gonna be use it to trade, but I'm gonna use it to reference what we're doing later on in price. Anyway, we go higher, cool, and I know this is just gonna be BS, right? This is gonna be a BS run. We take the high, boom. This candle closes like this. Once this candle goes up in the 15-second, I'm taking that 15-second, right? It could go higher, and that's why it didn't like fill the gap, but it could have left it as a breakaway gap, and I'm not willing to take that risk because now I'm not too sure we're gonna go all the way to them lows. If we had it here, we were gonna be bearish and take all the lows out, right? Now I don't know, so I have a position here. We come below the first presented, I add, right? We come down here to the place that I said if we wick into it, then that means there's problems, right? And as you can see, we wick into it, I close my position because that was a funded account. I'm not willing for me to go to break even. My break even is somewhere here, right? I'm not willing to see all that gone for us to go lower, right? And then now, once we go higher, we're still respecting first presented fair value gap. What is it saying? We're bearish still. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm a switch account now. I was like, I'm not gonna do anything until we close below this range. We close below this range, boom, I take the inversion. We go down, right? We make relative equal lows, do we? No, we just sweep. But I didn't like the sweep of the initial lows, right? It goes all the way higher. I let it go back, and then it goes lower again, and then we start stalling and stalling and stalling and stalling. I takes a bit off, and then the rest gets hit at break even, right? And then the market flips. I'm not gonna chase the trade. I know we're gonna go to the highs now, right? And I know we're gonna do that. But I already took my shorts. I already took it on two accounts. I already got two wins. That's it, right? This long, cool. Like I'll show again. We go to the first presented fair value gap. It doesn't matter, right? We come here, boom, and then now we go use the same level to go back higher. And once we break through it, and let's say we make relative equal highs, you could have taken this long. I don't know why it missed it, right? But hey, can't get all of them. Anyway, this reaction, boom, take the highs, and the market fully ran to the relative equal highs yesterday that I on Wednesday. I was like, yo, these should be taken. You can see we take those. It was not interested in sell side. That was enough sell side for it to be the catalyst. I expected more, but hey, they're gonna dump it on them, right? Like this is next week. Next week, this is all gonna get cleared, right? There's just no way it's gonna stay in price. Anyway, now it's Friday. We got CPI. Let's just push this to the 15-minute. And this is gonna be the freshest in the memory, so I hope I do more insight than what I just done there. Right, and as you can see, the annotations are there for Friday's price action. I hope. Yeah, that's all I had. Nothing labeled, but I know I'm looking at, right? These are the highs again in the 1 hour. What are we gonna get to them? That's my question. Are we gonna get to any of them? Because I'm looking for any of them as a turtle soup opportunity to go lower. I'm not looking for it to pierce it now. It's Friday. What I expect on Friday? Well, Friday we've been going high the whole week. I'm expecting some sort of TGIF, right? I'm not really expecting it, but I'm expecting us to go lower. That's all. That's all I expect. I don't expect this to go high. I'm not bullish per se. I want us to go high. I love how beautiful this is. We make exact relative equal highs basically for us. What does that mean? I'm expecting next week for us to clear all of this, right? Reach the midpoint of that at least, and then, well, we don't really have to, and then we'll go higher again to clear everything out, right? That's what I expect. And I'll probably look like a 4 hour daily bullish fair value gap. I'm guessing that we created now. Yes, see, we could either be on the wick side or we could actually just visit this range, right? So it depends. I don't care. That's just next week's problem. Anyway, what's with this day? Well, we have CPI, and notice how MNQ's chart and NQ's chart looks, right? On CPI, right? This, I mean, it is 829. CPI is technically should be 830, but we had the move basically at 29. You can see we don't have a low on this, and the high is much higher on it. Rather than NQ, we have a low on it, and the high isn't that much higher, right? So I was more inclined to use NQ's data, right? Because then I can have a range rather than, I mean, the MNQ one rather than the other one. Anyway, so data high, data low. That's easy targeting, you know. Come on, like there's no two ways around this. We know this. This is CPI already. We have this high, right? So think about it. If the day was bullish, right? And again, this was another 50-50. I wouldn't really say 50-50. It was definitely way more bearish than bullish, but it could have went higher. If the day wanted to go higher and achieve any of the targets here, it could have went and done it. And like I said, I would expect a turtle soup, relative equal highs, whatever. and then go lower. But it swept this high and then went lower. So I'm there concerned. Why? Because we are decoupled with everything. ES does not do that, right? ES does not do that at all. ES goes into basically its rejection block. So ES has a reason to go higher, to even at least the midpoint. I believe that wick. Did it hit the midpoint of the rejection block? I mean, slightly missed it, but hey, that's good enough. YM is YM, right? YM doesn't take the high as well. So I'm there like, okay, this is a bit of a mess. This is a mess. There is a chance that we don't dump, right? As in dump what I meant, we don't dump straight away. Why? Because we have sell side for PM and we have London. I'm looking at London. Why? Because it's relative equal lows with it was something I can't remember. With it took Asia. It took Asia. This is what I got Asia, but it was relative equal lows. Right? We had the initial like everything, and it's like Friday pulling back into the range. Everything was just targeting this London sell side that I was just looking at. That's what I'm expecting is in to go to that direction. So what's an easy low hanging fruit objective? Well, that would be data low. And what's on top of data low? If we go to regular trading hours, I had this marked, but I did take it off. Why? Yeah, okay. Midpoint of this was at that data low, right? So easiest trade is this. What I really expected was us to hit the new daily opening gap. That's my like target. Right? That's my genuine target. As in like if we get there, even if we're gonna hit this, I was gonna close my trade there. Right? You can see we done that later, but I wanted it to be in this run. And now let me explain this run. So as a genuine trade, you would be just going for the low. This is like TP2 and this is I guess TP3, right? You're expecting this whole range as well. So based on that, what's the trade? You're looking for short. So 930. What do? We go higher. That gives us more range for the shorts. That's nice. We like that. We like to see that. What do you expect us to go higher? That means are you gonna open and take a trade long? Well, that would be stupid because you could go wicked out and then would go, but hey, each to their own. Then we dump, create the first presented fair value gap. See, you'll see an issue with this first presented fair value gap. It's small, right? It's small and it has like this wick in it. Like I said in the Wednesday one, that's basically if you just go to the 15-second, it's gonna be a larger gap, right? I know we're gonna have this larger gap, right? And 5 seconds, whatever, right? Basically the wick is kind of included in that gap, right? So I'm watching and I'm not really too fussed if we close above the first presented fair value gap because I'm looking at the wick at the same time here, right? And there we should have got an entry offered right here into the first presented fair value gap. We don't, and we expand lower. So you would say if I'm bearish, why did I not take the trade here once we go to the low and come and make this, I don't know, gap, right? I should have a limit here. No, because like I said, it should have offered that first presented fair value gap. I knew it's most likely gonna sweep when it went to this low. You can see we have like common lows or whatever. And I believe what's this? Is that midnight? Yeah. We hit midnight opening price. So now coming to this gap doesn't make any sense. We hit our targets for this run. The next run, if I'm right, we're gonna basically retrace this range, thinking that we're gonna go higher. And I like this. I like this so much. Where look at this wick. We go higher, right? Then we go lower again into the wick upper quadrant. That told me we're bullish. I mean, this run is not gonna be the one to break down, right? And boom, we take this high. This basically makes it like if you're looking at this, you're like, yeah, we're bullish now. Take this breaker block. No, 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 no. I mean, not breaker block. It's whatever order block, right? No, no, that's not how it is. It's still bearish. Look, I have a limit order here. I knew it was gonna come back here. I just like this extra because it just like this is the extra fake, right? This is your mini market structure shift if you're looking at it or something. And you now, there is no reason for us to take this high now, right? Or even this high, but it could take it. But this high is now, I can guarantee my limit order. Boom, limit order gets hit. We go back to first presented fair value gap. I mean, if I get the full range, you will see is we're not going above midpoint. I bet this would be the lower quadrant, right? Around the lower quadrant. I'm using the wick basically into it, but that's how I have it highlighted. I still want this range respected. And then look at the buddies here, right? We go all the way lower. And again, I'm watching this wick. This is what's gonna dictate if we're gonna go lower or not. I'm watching this wick. Do we close below the midpoint? No. So I can't go break even. I literally can't go break even. Right? This is what you need to understand. You can't go break even for no reason, right? The only time you'd go break even here in this scenario for this exact day is once we close midpoint of this wick right there. That's when you can go break even. Look, right? Let's say you entered early. I wouldn't advise this entry, right? Could you go break even? Well, if you're gonna just take it to this low, and I guess if you take profit, then I guess you can go break even. But that was not the entry. I'll just tell you that right now. This was the entry. Once we go lower, do you take break even because we just took this low? No. You're gonna have to trust it so you don't get out the trade unnecessary. Anyway, now the buddies do this, right? Wakes into it. Now I know, right? Like, and that we now in the macro. If I really wanted to go break even, I would have right here. But I'm still waiting for this idea. But I know this time, this run, now I'm expecting it to close below. This is enough, you know, messing around. Enough of the hooligans basically. It's done. Right? You can't keep doing this. You have to start moving. We close here, break even. I'm watching us stay below now the midpoint. As you can see, body stay below the midpoint. We wick into this, right? We take it and then we go higher. I did not like that. I was watching stuff in the 5-15 second chart with us going to this wick, right? And then once it start going lower, I close my position, right? That's why I close my position. Why? Because the signs were showing me we're not gonna expand lower. Not right now, right? And because again, it's the funded account, I'm not gonna just abandon that. I was like, all right, cool. I closed it. Had enough, right? I knew we were gonna go lower, but what I was seeing just showed the risk of us basically taking this high again. Like we could go higher because I'm watching this price when I said, "Alright, there's signs of us going higher, but where would we go to?" And when I looked at it, my eyes just telling me like, "Hey, we could take this high again." And because NQ, right, at the time as well, NQ didn't take as high. So the short was risky from the start. But now once we hear like the risk is at now you have to close if you're in a position because we might take this high. We genuinely might take this high. As you can see, we stall at the same day. Once we take that high, then it's the same logic again. I'd say use the first presented fair value gap. Either the portion that I'm highlighted or the real portion really, which should be this. I'll genuinely have it highlighted as this. Once we go, boom, we close below midpoint. There we go to the high of it. Boom, close outside. Right there. That's an entry. That's an entry. All of these are entries, regardless. Making relative equal highs, and I bet there's PD arrays that you don't really need for it to go down here. But this is one of the best looking things I'd say, right? We go up, we have a wick, and then the candle closes like this. If this acts like a breakaway gap, oh my god, this is perfect. You already know the next fair value gap you take, right? If I was watching the chart, and come on, bro, this is 11:20. I'm not at the charts at this time. I already done my business earlier. This is the short that you take, and you would just seek. Well, we already know this low is gonna get taken, so you'd seek that, and you try aim for the new daily opening gap. Watch you come back all the way back to this midpoint of this wick. There's other PD arrays now here as well, right there, and then we'll come lower. Boom, that's the target hit. After that, they just start consolidating it rather than reaching the objective that I really wanted for the day, right? So that's the recap, I guess, right? Let me put this back to this. That's the recap. You can see on this to take the entry. You can see this, whatever. Right? There's too much to this day. The only problem I can see is just very difficult. Like, how would you expect this to come back higher from it was this low to come back higher and offer that better entry for you to take the short or whatever? I'm not gonna lie, this is difficult. If I was just learning, I'd be cooked. I would genuinely be cooked because this needs tons of experience, right? I can't even explain to you why would I wait there? Why would I not enter there? There's a fair value gap there. We inverse this. When would I use this, right? I would not even use this right here, right? This is the fair value gap before taking the liquidity in this sense. Why would I not use that, right? I would not use it there, but I would definitely use the range later, right? It's the same thing because here, if we come like after we done this, validated it, I would use the range, right? But the signs here makes me say, okay, this you would use it to go higher now. If you see, if you could have used it to go back straight higher to the high, like this, you can mix match and do so much stuff once you understand basically how to read price action. The skill is reading price action. After that is experience, and once you know if it's worth it or not, right? Like all of this week, like I said, it's been boring to me because I can see them just dragging, right? Like they're dragging the market. They're dragging it. Like Thursday, my second trade, bro. Like if you remember a year, two, three, whatever, I don't know. I wasn't really in the markets that much, but all I know is whenever I watch price and I was like learning, stuff would happen, right? We would come, right? First of all, we would delay this. We would come to the first presented just once, right there, with a wick, and then would start dropping all the way lower, right? We would take this low, right? We might consolidate, do whatever, hit the new daily opening gap. Then yes, we could go higher, right? But it would be like not like this, and then we would clear the NQ highs, and then yes, we would go lower back again. But now, because in this low run, we would make more relative equal. We'd add into this London sell side, adding the reason. It was just, you could ping pong the whole day, like on a 15-second call. But right now, but it's too boring, it's too slow, it's a lot of back and forth, and it's just not fun to trade. So I don't know. I'm gonna switch markets or not, or I'm gonna bother. I'm just working on best. That's why I didn't even do the recap for them days. So that's the collective recap for them days. And yeah, that's it. That's the market recap. Peace out.